On this episode of the Naturist Living Show, Gay Naturist International.
This episode of the Naturist Living Show is brought to you by Bare Oaks Family Naturist Park. At Bare Oaks, we offer traditional naturist values in a modern setting. Free your body, free your mind. www.bareoaks.ca.
Welcome, dear listener, to episode 159 of the Naturist Living Show. My name is Stéphane Deschênes. I'm your host for this podcast and the owner of Bare Oaks Family Naturist Park. Your support in listening to the show is really appreciated, but we also appreciate all those who support us financially through Patreon. And for a little bit more about that, here's Samantha.
Thanks, Stéphane. Yes, absolutely. We want to thank every single one of our Patreon supporters. Month after month, you contribute and support me personally in creating this show. And this is such a passion to get the message out to everyone. Different stories, different people, time after time. We love creating this content for you. And we are so incredibly grateful that you support us on Patreon. So this episode is brought to you especially by Sabrina K, Mark M, Bart G, Erica T, and Owen S. Thank you all, and thank you again to all of our supporters. We truly appreciate your support month after month and for listening to every single episode and all of your comments. We read all of your emails. We definitely see all of your comments, all of your hearts, all of your love. So thank you to all of our listeners. And now for this episode.
People have often said to me that, why do we need a gay naturist organization or gay naturist clubs? Because both of those exist. They've existed for a long time, and they'll say, well, being gay is about your sexual preference, and therefore it's about sex. But that is a misunderstanding from people who don't really know what they've gone through and why they've been forced to, in many cases, because they had no other options, to go and create their own naturist networks. Perhaps today is a little bit more, well, probably a lot more tolerant and accepting in many ways, but there's still, as we know, a lot of people who object to not just the gay people being gay or the gay community, but the entire LGBTQIA2S+. And yes, that's a mouthful, and I have trouble saying it even if I've used it many times. So to understand the history and the reasons why we have Gay Naturist International as an organization, or GNI, I contacted the executive director, Rick Johnson, and I asked him to explain to us a little bit more about what the organization is, why it exists, and what its purpose and what it does. So let's listen to that discussion. All right, why don't you start by introducing yourself and who you are and what you do?
All right. Well, thank you, Stéphane. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Rick Johnson. I am the Executive Director for Gay Naturists International. Been with the organization now for 26 years, so I've seen the organization change and grow and just become what it is today. So it's quite a privilege to be part of an organization for this long period of time because we have leadership that, of course, with any kind of organizational management, there is a board of directors that are elected, and those serve specific terms. And so they matriculate in and out on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. But to be around for such a long period of time and really help steer the organization, help to create the vision and fulfill its purposes. That is something that a lot of people just don't have an opportunity to have. There seems to be a lot of transition, a lot of changeover that takes place with organizations. And I'm not specifically speaking about naturism as a specific topic, but just in general, any kind of membership organization, there is a lot of changeover that takes place. And of course, organizations adapt to times. They change with the economy, social constructs, and various things that might be influencing what we do in our personal lives and within a membership kind of lifestyle. Those things all face a lot of, I would say, challenges to keep up with technology and growth, and a lot of changes taking place in our society today. So to be part of this organization for more than 50% of its life, we've been around now for 40 years. We were formally maybe I should stop and let you ask the questions, or I can keep going and just kind of speak off the top of my head. I'm sure that you have some prepared questions.
No, well, sort of. I never have prepared questions. It's more of a chat. I have some ideas of where I want to go. But fair enough. No, tell me about the organization. 40 years. Why was it formed, and when and where?
Okay, well, that's a really good question, and a lot of people just don't know the history of GNI. Back in 1984, way back when TNS was originally founded, the Naturist Society, there was a couple individuals that were members of the organization. Murray Kaufman, one specific individual, was challenged by Lee Baxandall to form an organization that was specific for gay and lesbian people. I believe Lee gave him maybe $40 or maybe $70, and we have it in our history archives. We have the archive actual newsletter that describes this whole event. But this, I'm kind of drawing back from what I remember from reading this years ago. But Lee gave Murray Kaufman about I believe $40 and said, "Take this $40." Start an organization that meets the needs of gay and lesbian naturists. So Murray Kaufman, who was based in New York City, took that $40 and started to create like a membership list. And so he reached out to organizations, nudist organizations throughout the country, and said, "Hey, we're here. We'd like to put you into a directory of gay and lesbian listings," and that was the beginning of, at that time, an organization called GLN, Gay and Lesbian Naturists. Okay,
and that's I just want to jump in because younger people listening may probably weren't around then, but in 1984, that was rather open-minded of Lee Baxandall, because it was gay people were not accepted at all in society.
Correct. Very, very much so.
It was a very difficult time, right? I mean, do you want to put a little context around that?
Sure. Well, as you probably know, some of the history of the challenges that the gay community has faced, there was a lot of persecution. A lot of individuals, both men and women, trans people, they just
people were literally killed for being gay.
Absolutely.
In North America, not in third world countries.
Very much so. Yes. And so when Naturists came together, of course, you bring your orientation with you because you're a whole human being, and that your orientation is a part of you. It does not define you. It is just a part of you. So when gay and lesbian naturists were actively joining the organizations at the time of the Naturist Society, and AANR was also around, they did not feel like they were part of a tribe. Even though they were naturists, there was something missing. There was that connection that you could have between individuals of like mind. And Lee Baxandall saw that. He recognized that, and he said, we can't let this happen. We have to do something to change this. And then thus challenged Murray Kaufman to begin this organization that would become the organization GLN, Gay and Lesbian Naturists, and ultimately then would become GNI much later on, about 10 years later. So Gay and Lesbian Naturists had an opportunity to get together, to interact with each other. There was a directory that they shared information. When people would travel, they would contact various clubs throughout the United States. They, again, share information. They would share maybe a couch if they were visiting in a local area. And the camaraderie and the friendships and those kind of relationships then would begin. So that was the formation of the organization, but it was just a special interest group of the Naturist Society. There was no formal incorporation or mission statement or anything like this. Then that was in 1984, spring of 1984, and I could give you the actual location where this was. It was at the Spring Festival in 1984, wherever that was held by the Naturist Society. I don't remember off the top of my head where that is. Again, it's all archived in our history. Then in 1985, taking the challenge one step further, Murray Kaufman and others that he had recruited in the New York area said, hey, let's do something. We have this organization where it's kind of loosely knit right now. We're able to kind of communicate with each other back and forth. At the time, we didn't have email. We didn't have text messaging. We had land phones and we had snail mail. And that was the main method of communication. So most people had P.O. boxes, and it was a pretty slow thing to be, writing letters and mailing those off to people. But people were committed. They wanted to interact with other naturists of like mind. And in 1985, I believe in the late spring, was the very first organization of coming together. So there was at the first gathering, if you will. Okay. It was a small group. If I remember, maybe roughly 40 people came. Was at a field, I believe, in Ohio. I'd have to look that up. Again, the history kind of escapes me off the top of my head, but it was a very small group, and that launched what would then become the yearly gatherings that GNI puts together now. Those gatherings have taken place every year since 1985, with the exception of 2014, when there was a conflict in the calendar where we currently hold our venue. And so we weren't able to meet in 2014. And then 6 years later, of course, 2020 with pandemic, when the world shut down, we of course weren't able to meet then. But we've held a gathering every year since 1984, with the exception of 2014 and 2020. And we've grown from the nominal of 40 people to, I think the largest group that we had was back in the early 90s, I think maybe 93, 92, 93, where we had up near about 1,100 to 1,200 people. We have now pretty much plateaued consistently between 550 to 700 people every year. We've expanded from just a weekend of like 2.5 days, like on a Friday, Saturday, and a half day on a Sunday, to a full 10-day event now. So I'll again stop right there. I'm sure that there's some things that you might want to comment on or question, but that opens up a whole other opportunity for
the first question that comes to mind is, what happened to the L?
The L, that is a very good question. So we did have L's, if you will. We did have a female identifying women in the mid to late 80s. Okay. And they would come to our event, but we never really had many women attend. I think the most number of women that we had attend was maybe a half a dozen. And we were drawing in hundreds of men. And literally, I mean, for the 300-400 men would come to our event, and there would be half a dozen women. So they felt like they just, again, were not being represented. There was not a full representation of women. Most of the activities that were underway at our event were more specifically male-oriented, if you will. So there was a lot of activity like wrestling. There were races and things like that. So yes, women could participate in that, but there were just not a lot of female-oriented activities. So the last year that the women came was in the late 80s, and I believe there were only 2 women there. And from that point on, the following years after that, now we never said they couldn't come. They just opted not to come. So it was something that they decided not to do. Just, I believe, because, and again, I have not spoken to these women. This is just all I'm picking up from the history of from our archives. They just did not feel like there was a place for them at this gay male event. Okay. And so I'll talk about gay here in a second, because yes, we are GNI, we're Gay Naturist International, but we're not exclusively for gay men. We have a number of bisexual identifying men, and we have a very large contingency of heterosexual men that come. So we've
I guess you don't worry about single men like some clubs do.
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, we'll talk about that. Yes, single men are welcome to join us. We are the place. We are the organization that a lot of single men can find and feel the acceptance and welcome when they come and join us at our events and activities. So. Going back to the women, our last 2 women were, I believe, in 1989. From that point on, we just never had women join us. 1993, in January 11th, 1993, we formally incorporated and changed from GLN, Gay and Lesbian Naturist, to Gay Naturist International. So seeing the trend that was taking place within our community, we acknowledged that we were at that point an exclusive male organization, and then re-identified ourselves as Gay Naturist International. Again, the outreach was to gay men, but we, of course, bisexual men were, and even today, I still get emails today. Well, I'm not gay. Am I welcome to come? I'm like, of course, you're absolutely any self-identifying male, even trans men are welcome to come. And so they back in 1993, we've re-identified ourselves as a male-only organization, and I use the term gay organization very loosely, because we're certainly there's a large group of people that are just not exclusively gay, and we do have a number of straight identifying men that have wives. They may or may not know that they come to this event. They have girlfriends or relationships. They maintain relationships, but it doesn't matter to us. We're not looking at the individual as an orientation. We're embracing them as a whole human being. And if you're a naturist, a male naturist, self-identifying male, you're welcome to join us and participate in activities and our membership and experience what we do. And so it's been a challenge to get to that point, because there has been some pushback. Few years ago, we had, I think it was back in 2018. It was 7 years ago. Yeah. So I'm trying to do the math because of the 2020 event that we didn't have. So I'd say probably 2017, 2018, we had a cisgendered female come, Devin Green. She came and she performed for us as an entertainer. And you would have thought that was just like, just this, it was such a change. More of the men were so super excited to have her there. There were some, some of the purists, if you will, that we're only a male organization and you shouldn't have any females, blah, blah, blah. We did get some comments from people, but over the course of, I think at the time we had maybe like 500, 600 people. There were only like 2 or 3 comments that were complaining that there was a cisgendered female there. So that's good. I mean, you're going to have that happen no matter what you do. It's it's just the nature of human beings. People are going to embrace things and they're going to push against things. And but we heard the group. We understand that this is a unique male event, and men like that safe space, especially gay men, bisexual men, where they can go, they can try new things, they can be who they are without any kind of like, I'd say covering up, but we're a nudist organization. I mean, yeah, certainly there's no airs that people put on when they come. They try new things. Maybe they want to try drag, or they want to try leather, or they want to try doing something that pushes their limits a little bit. Things that may make them uncomfortable, but they want to do this, and they realize that they're in a safe space, so they do this, and then they see how embraced they are and accepted, and there's no judgment and or whatever that fear that they might come with. So that's super exciting to see. And over the course of the past 26 years, I received thousands and thousands of comments from participants that have said, this has been life-changing. I've never thought that this would be what it is. And I wish I started coming 20 years ago. So, I always say, of course, the saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago and today. Mm-hmm. And the same thing. If you have not been coming to our event, if you're a gay male, you're a naturist, you haven't been around for 20 years, come today, because it will change your life, and you will have an experience that will be unlike anything that you can imagine. So, and I understand, yes, straight organizations do the same thing, and those are life-changing opportunities for them. We add that component of embracing the sexual orientation and letting people express themselves how they choose in that safe environment as well. So I think that just adds another different layer that makes us a little more unique or a little different than other straight organizations.
A comment that I've heard many times, and I'm sure some people listening will have this thought in their head, which is they're going to say, Naturism is about separating sex and the human body and nudity. And being gay is about sex. That's what they would tell you. So why would you have a gay naturist organization? It's a conflict. How do you answer that?
That is a really interesting question. And that is one of the topics that has been just challenging people for the past 40 years. Okay. Being gay is not about sex. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we just have to establish that from the get-go. Being gay is not about sex. And if being gay is about sex, then being heterosexual is also about sex,
right,
as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, it would be wrong to say that being gay is one thing while being straight is something else. So, again, we're self-identifying with a sexual orientation, and we're naturists. So, bringing those two components together. Let's face it, we're adults. We're human. We're adults, and whatever situation or wherever you go, I don't care if you're going to a medical conference or a big event, there's going to be sex that happens between consenting adults. Men and women, men and men, women and women, different combinations. It's going to happen.
Right.
What we don't do is shy away from that. We let people express themselves how they choose. We're not the police. We don't tell you what relationships you can and cannot have, or how you behave or express yourself sexually at those events. Now, there are times and places that we say, absolutely, this is inappropriate. You cannot do this in these locations, but everybody follows those rules. I mean, it's so super rare that anybody would I say violate, but would violate a rule. It could happen. It has happened over the past 25 years. Probably can count on one hand the number of times that it has happened. And usually there is alcohol involved if that does become an issue. So if people are a little, if they have a buzz or something going on, they're not thinking rationally, they let their guard down. There are times that has happened. But for the most part, people police themselves.
Yeah, well, it happens in all naturist environments when alcohol is involved and people lose their inhibitions. You don't have to be gay just to be that. Hetero people are just as likely to lose their sense of propriety at times.
Yes. Exactly. So what we have not done is we've created spaces for people to sexually express themselves. We don't endorse those, but we say, if you're going to do things, there are locations that you can go do those things away from the general population. Okay. And if they so choose to do that, more power to them, go off and have fun. Okay. But when you're on in this area here, there are behaviors, there are norms, there are things that we ask you to abide by. And like I say, everybody is very good about that. So, again, I want to stress that sex is going to happen regardless of wherever you go. It's just the nature of adult consenting human beings. We embrace those opportunities for people to sexually express themselves, but we don't provide that in our schedule of formal activities, if you will. So if you look at our schedule, you're going to see life drawing class. You're going to see aqua Zumba. You're going to see races or wrestling and things like that. You're not going to see any kind of orgy or parties, sex parties and things like that. That's just not who we are. If people decide to host those things on their own, they do that on their own without any kind of say from the organization whether or not they can do that. So if you want to host a party in your cabin, that's up to you. You do that on your own time. It's not in our schedule. And you invite people, you promote that, you do whatever you need to do for that. So, but we don't say it's completely, you can't do that. Again, we're not the police, but we don't provide those in a formal capacity where it's written in our schedule or anything like that. So hopefully that will clear up some misconceptions.
Yes, well, it's a complex topic, and a lot of those questions are based on not understanding the world and the reality.
Yes.
First of all, on the sex, we sound like we are asexual sometimes as naturists, and they say naturism isn't about sex. Well, no, it's not about sex, but that doesn't mean we don't have sex.
Yes.
We are sexual creatures. It just means that just because we take off our clothes doesn't mean we have an orgy.
Correct.
That's what we're trying to differentiate. We can be in our natural state without that being sexual inherently. Because obviously we are sexual even when we're clothed. Otherwise, the rest of the world would never have sex, since they're mostly clothed all the time and never be attracted to each other.
Exactly.
But on being gay in particular, I alluded earlier what it was like in 1984, which I remember, and you probably remember as well. And the reason for GNI, if you understand, especially at that time, is obvious. You were not allowed in most traditional naturist clubs.
Correct.
Two men would not be a couple. They would be two single men, and two single men would not only pay more, but would possibly not even be allowed or welcomed. If you said you were gay, you very right out may be told to leave because they thought that was some sinful, horrible thing. So the need for a GNI, especially in 1984, and sadly probably still today, is obvious when you understand that.
Yes.
And can you talk a little bit about the challenges, especially back then, but even today, of where you can go in hosting events and participating in the naturist community as a whole?
Society has changed a lot. There are places that are much more open to accepting us. Of course, the Obergefell decision by the Supreme Court gave us gay marriage. So now there's formal married couples that participate in a number of activities in
the United States.
In the United States, of course. And even with that, though, there are places that still challenge gay men or gay women on their lifestyle. And I don't like to use the word lifestyle because we do everything everybody else does. It's we're no different. But when we do go to a hotel, we'll get a king bed or something like that, and not two double beds, whatnot, if we're a couple. And even I have personally had going to, and this is still within even the past 10 years, people snicker, laugh at you. They give you some kind of attitude. I haven't seen the days where they're like outright threatening you, but that has happened. And this is the reason, as you have alluded to, the reason why GNI exists. There are still threats in the world. We see, I don't want to get into politics, but a lot of legislation that is trying to roll back, just civil protections. We had to secure marriage. We had to reinforce marriage for gay and lesbians. So that's an important thing. But you see, just if you look at Naturist Action Committee and the various topics that they're facing, there's so much legislation that is trying to revoke naturist areas that have been naturist havens for such a long time. So trying to protect those is a very important thing. We are constantly under threat by what's happening in the political world as well. So we have to stay vigilant and hopefully work as a team so that we're just not being attacked individually, but as we're stronger together than we are as an individual. So we like to partner with like-minded allies and other organizations that accept us. So being a part of a naturist community, that's our ground. So we can work together as naturists, whether it's AANR or TNS or any number of other organizations, because we identify as naturists. So when those naturist threats do come, and they will, and they're always on the horizon, we will stand together and do what we can to help promote the safe haven for naturists. So when there's calls for, write this legislator or go and do something, we get the word out as well and let our community know so that they can participate in letter writing, campaigning, making phone calls, or whatever the call may be.
As you're talking, I'm thinking, while the threat to the not just gay men, but to the entire LGBTQ2S plus community is much stronger than it is to naturism in a lot of ways. It strikes me that actually naturists are more different from mainstream society than you are. Because as you said, When you're a couple, you book a room, you go to dinner, you like to go to restaurants. Like your life, as if you're a gay man with a partner, is really very, very, very similar to everybody else. Whereas if you take your clothes off socially with other people, that's actually a much bigger difference in society.
Exactly.
But that is not as attacked as the queer community is, which is, I don't know. I still, personally, it's always confused me um, why anybody cares about things that don't affect them directly.
That's right. That's right.
Because nobody's ever forced anybody to join anything that they
Right.
didn't want to join or to be anything they didn't want to be.
Right.
Well, that's not true. People who are gay were forced to not be gay, but that's in the past, which is unfortunate. But yes,
Yeah. Or certainly hide it, and
yes,
and the psychological damage that results from that is lifelong.
oh yeah,
The kind of trauma that people experience as young kids, being kicked out of homes, or being disowned by family, or ostracized, or fired from jobs.
yeah,
Just holding a professional license and being fired and not able to work in that capacity anymore.
oh yeah.
These are all real things that we experience as a community. So, when we do have a Pride festival, we're survivors, and so
Mm-hmm.
we are proud of that, and we've come through so much, and we embrace that. We understand that at some level everybody has been damaged, whether you're straight or gay. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just being a natural human being.
Whenever you're forced to, when I said forced to not be gay, I meant forced to hide through conversion therapy or just
Exactly.
societal pressure. You're forced to not live your true self and not be who you are.
Yes.
And that whether it's gay or anything else, that can really hurt.
Yeah.
If you're forced to study something that doesn't interest you, if your interest in being more artistic is suppressed, that can hurt as well. There's all kinds of things we do in society.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you about the I in GNI. How international are you?
That's another great question. We and I did this compilation, I believe it was last year. So in terms of the number of countries or participants, was up near about 40 different countries for people all over the world. So, of course, most of our demographics are in the United States. We have a large contingency in Canada. Western Europe is greatly represented. I mean, we're talking UK, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, Netherlands.
And where are your events then?
Okay, so plus we also have a large group. Australia is highly represented, New Zealand, Central America, not so much. Last year we had our very first person attend from South Africa. That was the furthest that anybody has come to date. So in any given year, when we hold our event, like I say, we have anywhere from 550 to 700. It's so hard to predict what the numbers are from year to year. We have about between 70 and 80 international attendees. That's a very large portion of people. Up near 15 to 20% of our attendees are international. So we really try to promote naturism to the international community, but it's hard to do that when you're so US centric, if you will. Our event, we do hold one event, so we put our eggs in just this one basket, which is held in eastern Pennsylvania in the Pocono Mountains at a large summer camp. That's where everybody comes. So we're like the hubs. All the international people come, the domestic people come to that event. But then they go back to their locations. Back in I think it was 2019. Yes, it was 2019. In February of 2019, we held our first international event in Australia. And it was a small group, and we knew it was a small group. We did not market it for the U.S. community. It was marketed for the Australian and New Zealand community. So we had about 27, I believe, was our final count. We were anticipating about 30, so we almost hit our target numbers. But in terms of fun, I have to say, like I said, I've been doing this for 26 years. In terms of my personal experience, that was the most profound event that I can recall, was the international event in Australia. We were anticipating doing more events after, but the pandemic hit and the world shut down. So that kind of blew the wind out of our sails. We are again looking at doing international events, and that is why this year we worked with the group in Mexico to participate in the Nudist Festival in Zipolite. And so we will be participating in that more in the future and taking a more active role in organizing activities in the future with that. So we're also looking at an event in Colombia. And there are other locations that we're considering, which I can't disclose at this point. So there are, but all of these are international venues or excursions, if you will. So we're trying to really do more promoting of the I in GNI, because that is a large portion of the people that do support us. They come a far ways to our event, so it's time for us to return the favor.
Yes, it was good to see you in Zipolite. I'm glad, because
Yes.
I've been meaning to do this podcast for many years. And as we discussed, I made a couple of of attempts to communicate. Didn't work out for whatever reason, but I'm guilty too for not having pushed harder. I'm sure if I'd been a little bit more persistent, we would have had this chat much sooner. So does GNI also have local chapters or clubs that hold local events?
Okay, so another great question. We don't have formal like regional clubs or activities. There are nudist organizations that form on their own. So they're self-governed. They form on their own. They plan their own activities, whether it's a pool party or a potluck or a hike or whatever the case may be. Then they join the network, if you will. So we have probably the most comprehensive directory listing of clubs for gay nudists in the world. And again, I don't like to use the words solely for gay, but for male nudists. Okay. Mm-hmm. That is the go-to for people looking for things to do in local areas. I get probably 2 to 3 emails a week. Hey, I'm going to be in this state. Can you tell me where I could go for this? And so the number of people or a number of clubs that are listed are probably over 200 clubs in our directory. And I don't know what's going on with all the clubs. I don't keep track of the events. That they don't tell me what they're doing. They don't tell me that they have a potluck coming up on this day, or they got a pool party, or they're going to do a naturist hike or whatever they're thinking of doing. But to keep track of all of that for over 200 clubs, that would be a full-time job.
Yes,
so
of course.
Yeah. So what we do is we put the listings out there to say, if you are interested in contacting anybody, here's how to get a hold of those people. You can do directory searches and kind of narrow the field down, because again, if people give me a little city and a little village in the middle of a state, I don't know where they're located, and I just don't have the time to look up on Google Maps where they're located to see where the largest club is that might be closest to them, and then give that information. That just takes a lot of time and effort to do that. But you
don't have a whole staff to do that for you?
No, you're looking at the staff. This is that I run the organization from nuts to bolts. So, and of course we do have a board of directors, but in terms of everything, the website management, the membership directory, all the listings, the event planning for the actual activities, all communications, marketing, all of that you're looking at him right now, or hearing him, as the case may be for the podcast listeners. So
I've seen and heard about GNI for a long, long time, but I haven't seen a lot of crossover at events of the, for lack of a better word, mainstream naturist community.
Mhm.
What is your relationship with the mainstream community and with Anna? You said TNS helped form you. Do you participate in TNS events as well?
Honestly, we would love to. Um, but I think that for us to really feel like we're welcome is to be invited.
Hmm. Okay.
And it needs to go both ways. I mean, we would absolutely participate in those activities if we felt like there was a place for us. Um, I know that there has been some history with the larger organizations and recognizing GNI as a legitimate nudist organization, because for the longest time, and even during part of the tenure of my 26 years, other organizations have considered us to be solely a sex club. So they have not embraced us as a naturist organization, and have not given us the credibility of who we are. And yet we're drawing like the largest number of nudists at an event for one club, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been difficult, because how do you convince somebody that you're legitimate? I mean, how do you convince a straight person you're legitimate if you're homosexual? I mean, those are the challenges that you have as a gay person. But now we're facing that even not so much today, but this was a challenge years ago. How do we convince you generally speaking, not you specifically, how do we convince naturists that we're a legitimate nudist organization? Because we have to fight perceptions, and we have to fight just assumptions that people have made about us, and prejudices and those kinds of things. So that's been a challenge as well. So can we and will we participate? Absolutely. Let us know that you're okay with us being there, and we're gonna try to make the efforts to be there. Now, that said, there is a cost that goes with that. Of course, we can't attend everything. We don't have unlimited budgets to finance these kinds of activities, so we have to pick and choose to see what's going to be the best, the most impact for the least amount of resources that we need to commit to. So, yeah, I think this is a great opportunity for us to speak to the larger naturist organizations, and we want to open up our arms and our hands and say we want to participate at larger areas as well, and become more mainstream. And because our organization has become more mainstream anyways, we like I said, we have a large number of men who are straight identifying.
Mm-hmm.
and they're welcome. We would like to show the rest of the world that we're okay with that. We want to embrace everybody, but we also, when we go to these locations, we also want to feel embraced as well. And I don't want to go and have to legitimize myself for being there,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. That's I want to go. I want to relax. I want to go represent, but I don't want to justify my existence. And if I have to do that, then I'm not interested. So, I've had invitations where I've had to do that, and I've been caught in those, and I've turned those down since then. So, been down the road.
You say you want to embrace everybody, women too, or people who identify as women?
I personally, as myself, okay, I would have no problems with women coming to our event. I absolutely wouldn't. In fact, as I indicated with our entertainer, I was the one who reached out to Devin in the first place and said, "Hey, we want you to be there." And so that was, again, testing the waters for the rest of the club, if you will. How would they feel about this? And most everybody, they were okay. That's not to say that GNI is thinking of opening the membership to women, and I don't know how many women would join us if we did, because again, we are self-identifying men, and our activities are specifically more geared towards male activities. So,
but I suspect for women, it would be an environment where they're not being sexualized or objectified, and they can feel safe.
absolutely, yes.
And sometimes that's hard to find, even in a naturist community, because not all naturist club are as pure about that philosophy as they could be, right?
Exactly. Yes. That's one thing is when Devin came, she was fantastic. Of course she has a lot of gay friends. She lives in Holly or West, or lives in Silver Lake, I believe, in Los Angeles. So she has a large following of gay men, but people treated women are treated with respect. Our event, we have camp staff who are women, and like our we have a front gate person. So not anybody can just drive up at any point when they want to and come to our event. So we have a guard shack, and there is a woman who she pretty much mans that that guard shack during the day. We have security at night. It's actually paid security at night. We do that for the safety of our people. Even in today's world, there are people that want to cause harm. And so we don't put the location on our website. We don't divulge that to non-registered members. We don't want people just to drive up and threaten our membership. So, but we have a woman during the day that she stops everybody coming through, and the men love her. They dote over her. They'll go buy her cookies or chocolates or whenever they run to town, because she's providing a service. She's doing something to keep us safe. And we repay that favor by acknowledging her. And we have women who work in the kitchen. Well, of course, that's camp staff as well. Again, they're treated with the utmost of respect. They're the ones doing the food prep, and they're doing the cooking behind the scenes, and it's hard work. And to feed 600 men in an hour and a half, that's a pretty big undertaking. Yeah. And we just don't get one plate. They'll go back for seconds and thirds and whatnot. Our group eats a lot, and it's the support staff of so many women at our facility that make this event successful. So we acknowledge the importance of women. Will women come and participate as members? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I probably get maybe 1 or 2 emails a year from women who are looking for naturist things to do. And it's not necessarily that they're gay. They're just wanting to know where they can go to be a nudist. And so I'll ask them, where are you located in this state? Here's clubs, here's A&R or TNS, or here's resorts in the area. You go check them out. And so they're, I just parse that information out as it comes in. I don't think I've ever had, no, I take that back. I did have one woman within the past 5 years ask if she could join GNI. And I asked her why she would want to become a member of GNI. And it's not that I didn't say no. In fact, I actually did let her join GNI. She said that she had a resort in Europe, and she wanted to market to the male community. I said, okay, sure.
Smart. Yeah.
Exactly. So she paid her membership dues. She officially joined. She didn't participate in any of the, we were holding at the time an online event called a mingle. So as we would do various mingles throughout, again, during the pandemic, to keep people engaged with each other. She wouldn't join the mingles. She didn't do any of the actual in-person activities. but she was actively involved in our membership directory. So she was promoting her her resort to our community. And I don't know how she did, because of course that's none of my business. And if she reached out, how many people she got to come to her resort, I have no clue. But I didn't say no to her. And I don't think, honestly, really anybody, if they came across her profile, probably didn't say anything either, because she never complained that somebody was giving her a hard time or anything like that. So will there be a day that women can join? I can't predict the future. But I think, given our current trend in our society today, there may come a day where that becomes a reality again. So we become GLN, if you will, again. I'm not committing to that. Of course, that would be a board of directors decision. I am not a board of director. I don't make the policy. I don't vote on these issues. But that would be a sea change to the organization that would require the input of so many more people than just me. But I also monitor the trends that are happening in society. And I think it was back in 2006, I met with the board of directors at a board meeting. And I said, guys, there's going to come a day we're going to have trans members. Mm-hmm. We need a policy to deal with that. So let's talk about it before it actually becomes an issue. Back in 2006, we came up with our current policy for trans people. And but that was, like I say, that was almost 20 years ago, 18 years ago. So I see the trends that are taking place. I see the openness that our community has. And there, like I say, there may come a day. I don't know if it's in my term or afterwards. I don't know. But there may come a day that this organization will accept women. And if that happens, that will be awesome. That would be awesome.
So how does one join GNI? How much does it cost? And what do you get for it? What are the benefits?
Okay. So anybody can join GNI. Again, as a self-identifying male. Okay, that's the one restriction. You must be over 21. And the reason why we set the age limit is because at our events, we do serve alcohol. So we want to make sure that nobody is under the age of 21. So you can go to our website, and there's a link called membership. You just click on that. There's a sublink. I think it's called join or renew. You click on that, and you can just fill out an application form, pay dues online. It's $50 for an annual membership. And what do you get? Okay. You get... of course, access to our online directory, where you can begin to interact with others, communicate with others through our online. It's internal communications. It's kind of like instant messaging or whatnot. I guess on various applications. I don't think Facebook does that, but you can send messages to each other. You can share photos and things like this with each other. So it helps just kind of tune you into our community. If you're planning to come to our event, it provides the forum for you to start looking for a cabin. You want to join a cabin. What are your interests? We have a number of different cabins that are represented. If you're part of the bear community, you might be interested in a bear cabin. Or if you're couples and you only want to be with couples, you can start to reach out to couples. There are some drag cabins. There's a couple yoga cabins if you're interested in yoga and you want to share that experience with like-minded people. Reach out to people through this directory. So provides immediate access where you can begin to hone in on the kinds of people that you might be interested in hanging out with, it, but also the locations where you would be most comfortable being housed in a specific cabin, or the activities that you might find interesting or challenging to participate in when you come to our event. So all of that's part of our online directory. Another thing that one of the benefits of membership, we used to have a blog. We actually had a printed publication. That became very costly for us, and I don't know how you guys do it with printed publications, because it's just in terms of the production, printing, and postage costs, it's super, super expensive. And this was probably 20 years ago. Just to put out one quarterly publication was costing us in the area of about $15,000.
Mm-hmm.
And so 15,000 times 4 is like $60,000. So again, looking at the trends in society, we're going, okay, well, it's kind of very expensive to do that. What are our options? And so I approached the board of directors. I said, you guys really should think about, just making a suggestion, think about going to a digital version. So let's produce the publication in a PDF format. It's going to save a whole heck of a lot of money. We can send that format out on like a if you want to put something in the hands of our members, put it into a CD. And so we started to do that. We no longer started to print our publication. We created PDFs, put those on CDs, and would mail those to our memberships or to our members. And but that was just an interim step, because ultimately the goal was to go from a pure printed format to a pure digital format. So that transition took place about over the course of maybe 4 or 5 years. And after 4 or 5 years, we just decided, okay, enough is enough. Most people have email today or have a computer. They can access websites. So we started to put those onto websites. And so we stopped the production of the CDs and the mailing of those CDs, because again, that became more, it was not as expensive. I think our costs were maybe $2,000 or $2,500 per quarter, certainly down from $12,500 to $2,500. So we were saving about $40,000 a year. That's very important when your membership is your revenues are mostly membership dues and whatever residuals you make off of your one event. That again transitioned us over to what then ultimately became a pure digital format. And we started to produce a blog, and back I think maybe in 2019, 2019, put out a survey. We're like, how many people read the blog? How many people, did you even know we had a blog? Those are important questions. Are we reaching the people that we need to? And I got the results back and looked at the results and went and took the summary of the results to the board. I said, guys, I'm like, here's where we are today. Okay. We really need to think about, do we want to continue doing the blog? Is it effective? Is it reaching the people? Is it communicating what we want it to? And at that point, looking at the survey results, we decided to not do that. So one of the benefits of membership that we stopped doing was that quarterly publication or the printing of the blog. But then in 2020 with the pandemic, I saw the need because of just the call for people to isolate, stay 6 feet apart from each other, don't go out in public, that the whole just quarantine thing going on for the longest time. I saw the need that we needed to stay engaged as a community. So I created the what we refer to as the Mingle. And that was an online Zoom where initially was actually 4 years ago this month, we were doing weekly Zoom meetings. So I got volunteers that were hosting sessions for like yoga or meditation or even just mental health. Just let's talk about what's going on right now. We're feeling isolated right now. There's depression that people are experiencing. There's fear. We don't know what this pandemic is going to do or how we might, come through this. Will we be unscathed, or will we be part of the numbers that we see growing every day? And so there was a lot of fear that was taking place, and the mingles were times for us to come together, to feel engaged, feel a part of who we are as a community, and that was very successful. Of course, when the world started to open up, participation in the mingles started to drop off, and so we went from a weekly format to once a month, and over the course of the next 3.5 years, we decided what we would do is just do them as needed. And so we do host mingles still today that are that's part of the benefit of membership. You're welcome to participate. There are mingles that are open to the public, so you don't have to be a member of GNI. We'll invite you to come and participate in those. So it depends on what the topic is and what we're trying to communicate. That has replaced what our printed publication is, and that's been, again, it's been successful. But there's also times change. And as the world opened up and people started to travel and locations are more accessible, those mingles were no longer relevant for people at that time. So again, saw the writing on the wall on that, and we're like, okay, now what's our next focus going to be? So I wish I could say in terms of benefits of membership that we offered like discounts. We did offer discounts to like affiliated resorts that would help promote GNI. Times change, and those opportunities dried up. So they're like, oh, we don't need GNI, and it's nobody would come anyways. And that was another that was a thing that we would offer these discounts, but nobody would take use of those discounts. So they didn't feel like they were getting something out of this relationship, and that would thus not renew those kinds of discount relationships. And so I get it. It's understandable. What do you get now? Okay, so like I say, you get the benefit of membership. You get invitations to come. You have to be a member of GNI to participate in our event. I think that's a big thing. You're also the first to receive the announcement. So before it gets opened up to the public, it's opened up to GNI members. So you get first opportunity to take those discounts or sign up for those activities and things like that. Any kind of membership organization struggles with these issues. What do members get for paying the dues? And I think that if there was a big room of people, we would all be sharing the exact same concerns and frustrations. What do we give our members besides just a little membership card saying that you're a member of this organization? So, and I'm open. If anybody has suggestions or ideas, hey, let's talk. Let's see what you can do and what we can do for you, and hopefully work some kind of arrangements out. And offer those to our people.
And your website is?
GayNaturist.org. GayNaturist.org. I always have to stress the last S on the end, because if you don't do that, then you go to a different website. So.
All right, and that'll be in the show notes. Thank you so much, Rick, for sharing all this with us. That was very interesting.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. And if you have any follow-up questions, I'm happy to meet with you again in the future. Or if you want to talk about other things, excited to do that as well.
So as you've heard, there's still a challenge even today for the gay community. You hear it in the news all the time. You certainly meet people who object to it. But it's about their community, and just the same thing as if you listen to the interview we did about Black naturists. They unfortunately are often excluded, and they just want to feel like they belong. And what's interesting in both cases is that if you're not gay and if you're not Black, both organizations welcome you with open arms, because they appreciate the people who recognize that all people can be together. But that, unfortunately, is not always true the other way around. So that's all for this episode of the Naturist Living Show. Thank you as always for listening. Again, my name is Stéphane Deschênes, and I'm your host for this podcast and the owner of Bay Oaks Family Naturist Park. I make the show with a lot of help from Samantha Graham, who makes the task a lot easier by producing the show and doing the time-consuming editing. The Naturist Living Show's theme music is The Day We Met by Mark Hodges. Please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Naturist Living Show. None of this money is for me. All of it goes towards the production and mostly towards Samantha, who does all this work so she can make a living producing shows for you to listen to. And you can find links to all the items I mentioned in the show notes on the website at naturistlivingshow.com. Please keep sending your comments and suggestions. We always appreciate reading them. The show's email address is contact@naturistlivingshow.com. I hope you enjoy the show and that you'll join us again for the next episode of the Naturist Living Show.
This episode of the Naturist Living Show was brought to you by Bay Oaks Family Naturist Park. Traditional naturist values in a modern setting. Traditional values means that naturism is more than just taking your clothes off. It is a life philosophy with physical, psychological, environmental, social, and moral benefits. Bay Oaks Family Naturist Park strives to promote those naturist values in a modern setting that provides the amenities and services that our members and visitors expect. Free your body, free your mind. Learn more at www.bayoaks.ca.
I'm sure. I apologize for my dogs barking.
No, it's okay.
So you can edit that out.
Yes, no, exactly.